The United States Special Forces, often referred to as the Green Berets, represent one of the most elite military units in the world, operating under the motto, De oppresso liber, to free the oppressed. These highly trained individuals perform missions that are as complex as they are clandestine. From the jungles of Vietnam to the deserts of the Middle East and beyond, the Special Forces have played a critical role in shaping U.S. military strategy. But what exactly makes Special Forces units so effective, and how did they earn their distinguished reputation? The origins of U.S. Army Special Forces trace back to the Second World War. During this global conflict, specialized units such as the Office of Strategic Services, or OSSs, carried out missions that required intelligence gathering, sabotage, and behind enemy lines operations. The OSS, a precursor to the modern CIA, laid the groundwork for Special Forces operatives. It became clear that the United States needed a dedicated group that could perform unconventional warfare, capable of adapting to fluid, asymmetric battlefields. In 1952, the U.S. Army formally established the Special Forces, with their focus centered on guerrilla warfare, counterinsurgency, and training foreign allies. The first Green Berets may have been few in number, but their impact was substantial. A defining moment in the history of Special Forces came during the Vietnam War. Unlike conventional troops, the Green Berets did not merely engage in direct combat. They immersed themselves in the local culture, training and fighting alongside indigenous populations like the Montagnards. Their goal was to create self-sufficient resistance forces that could challenge the enemy long-term. This unconventional approach became a hallmark of Special Forces missions: flexibility, ingenuity, and an emphasis on building alliances. Every Green Beret undergoes grueling training in the Special Forces Qualification Course, often referred to simply as Q Course. This selective process ensures that only the best make it into the unit. Trainees are taught advanced skills like critical thinking, cultural awareness, and combat medicine. The training is divided into phases, each focusing on a core aspect of their capabilities, everything from demolition expertise to advanced survival techniques. The infamous Robin Sage phase, where candidates must apply their skills in a mock guerrilla insurgency, is seen as the ultimate test of adaptability. Fewer than 1 in 3 soldiers who begin training will complete it successfully. It's not just physical endurance that's assessed here. Soldiers must demonstrate the psychological resilience to operate in high-pressure, unpredictable environments. When we think of Special Forces operatives, their missions often conjure images of stealth, precision, and daring exploits. Yet one of their primary objectives is notably less glamorous: training and empowering foreign militaries around the globe. They are often deployed to politically unstable regions where they foster relationships with local forces, providing the tools for them to defend their own countries. Whether in Africa, South America, or Southeast Asia, their presence can mean the difference between order and chaos. Their work often remains shadowy, but its effects ripple across the global landscape of power. Of course, direct action missions do form a significant part of their repertoire. Perhaps one of the most famous such operations was the hunt for Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, a key leader of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Acting on precise intelligence, Special Forces led raids that eventually neutralized one of the most dangerous insurgent leaders of the Iraq War. Their skills in reconnaissance, coordination with other military branches, and the element of surprise made the mission a textbook example of their expertise. Such operations are high risk, but their success often prevents conflicts from escalating further. What sets U.S. Special Forces apart is their ability to blur the lines between soldier and diplomat. Their linguistic training allows them to communicate in the unique dialects of the regions where they are stationed, building trust with local populations. They often advise foreign governments on strategic operations or even mediate tribal disputes in war-torn areas. It's this combination of martial skill, cultural intelligence, and tact that allows them to operate effectively in situations where a purely military or political solution would fail. But their effectiveness comes at a cost. The demands on Special Forces personnel are immense, both mentally and physically. These operatives spend long deployments overseas, often returning again and again to areas of significant danger. While the challenges of combat are widely understood, the psychological toll of carrying out missions with global implications cannot be overstated. Many soldiers face difficulties transitioning back to civilian life, haunted by the intensity of their experiences. The U.S. military has dedicated resources to helping these veterans recover. But the question remains, how do you truly leave behind a career defined by living on the edge? Technological advancements have also played a transformative role in Special Forces operations. Drones, advanced surveillance tools, and cyber warfare capabilities are just some of the resources at their disposal. However, at their core, the Special Forces remain committed to their original mission, conducting precise, human-centered operations. The reliance on interpersonal bonds and on-the-ground intelligence is as crucial as ever. It's important to recognize how U.S. Special Forces fit into the broader structure of the U.S. military. They are among several elite units, including the Navy SEALs and Delta Force, each with its particular specialization. While the SEALs are often associated with maritime operations and Delta Force with counterterrorism, the Green Berets serve as masters of unconventional warfare, operating effectively in environments where traditional military tactics are untenable. Together, these units provide the U.S. Department of Defense with unparalleled flexibility. Yet, the future of Special Forces remains uncertain. With geopolitical landscapes evolving rapidly, the nature of warfare is shifting. Beyond traditional counterinsurgency operations, they now face threats from cyber espionage, domestic terror cells, and the rise of state-sponsored paramilitaries in contested regions. The emphasis on irregular warfare may need to expand even further, requiring enhanced training in hybrid tactics that blend physical and cyber capabilities. Critics of Special Forces argue that their missions often occur in a legal gray area, away from public scrutiny. For instance, foreign training initiatives or covert actions have historically raised questions about sovereignty and accountability. Ultimately, the story of the U.S. Army Special Forces is one of adaptability. Over the past 7 decades, they've evolved from operating in remote corners of Vietnam to combating global terrorism and intervening in politically volatile regions. Despite political changes in Washington and shifting threats around the world, the Green Berets remain steadfast in their mission to defend U.S. interests and promote stability where it is most needed.